But nobody's home?
Hello.
Turn your light on again.
Hello. Okay. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call this meeting of the West Valley Water District Board of Directors to order. It is 7:06 in the 6:06 in the p.m. We will start off with a roll call of board members.
Thank you. Director Garcia.
Present.
Director Moore is absent. Vice President Jenkins.
Present.
President Young.
Present.
3 of 5 are present. We have a quorum.
Okay. All right. And then we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice President Jenkins, will you lead us?
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and tonight we're joined by Pastor Lindsay Sheba from Sunrise Church. If you'll please lead us in the invocation.
Mic's off. Or blocked.
Pastor Sheba, if you could unmute yourself. Oh, I think that we're muted, actually, it looks like.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, we'll start now with our opening prayer by Pastor Sheba from Sunrise Church. Pastor Sheba, if you'll please open us with an invocation.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord, we just thank you for all that you are and all that you do for us each day, giving us blessings beyond our comprehension. And Lord, we just pray right now for these officers, board of directors, and members, that you would just give them during this meeting an extra portion of patience, peace, understanding, wisdom in decisions. And Lord, just give them just a sense of camaraderie, that they could work well together. So we lift up this time and this venue to you, and we devote it all to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor.
Sure.
All right, so next up we will have public participation on closed session items. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways. In person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone call by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
Have we received any requests for public comment on closed session items?
None in person. Don't believe we have anybody on Zoom, and none via email.
Okay, if anyone else would like to speak on a closed session item, please indicate your desire now or unmute yourself. Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close public participation on closed session items, and we will adjourn to closed session.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, we're back from closed session, and we'll have report out from closed session. Legal?
Yes, sir. The board met in closed session on the second item under 54957.6. There was no reportable action. That was the end of the closed sessions.
Great, thank you so much. All right, board, we have an agenda before us. If there's no changes to the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
I motion that we adopt the agenda as presented before us.
First, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Moore is absent. Director Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young,
Yes.
and that passes 3-0. Thank you.
All right, so now that takes us to the general public participation, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Members of the public may participate in one of 4 ways: at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org. We do not have any emails. We do have a couple of people on Zoom and no one in person.
All right, is there anybody who would like to address the body? Please, if you're interested, raise your hand icon or unmute yourself at this time. Okay, is there anybody in the audience who would like to address the body? Going once, going twice. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and close public participation. Next up, we have presentations. Update on the 2024 imported water plan.
So good evening, Board and President. Today I have an update for the surplus imported water for the 2024 year. Each year, Valley District coordinates with DWR and their retail water agencies to develop a water plan for the upcoming year. Valley District provides monthly updates on the deliveries to the retail water agencies and if there are any allocation changes throughout the winter and spring. Valley District continues to work towards maximizing imported water deliveries with support from retail water agencies, the Water Conservation District, and the San Bernardino County Flood Control. Direct deliveries started off slow this year, and primarily due to the wet weather that we've had. Abundant surface water from Santa Ana River, Mill Creek, and Lytle Creek. We're very fortunate to have these local water supplies from the San Bernardino Mountains, and that is why we used a lot of it at our Romer facility. Recharge deliveries were delayed until later this year, and that is also because of the wet weather. The recharge facilities were full from the local surface water. This table kind of spells out where we are at the end of June for direct deliveries. These are all the agencies, and the total in blue in the column there is where the totals of direct deliveries were at the end of June. This next column were the orders that were placed at the beginning of the year, and this column is the remainder of what is to be used by the end of this year. As you can see, there are a few agencies who have not used any or little of the amount that they've ordered for this year. West Valley being one of them. As I mentioned, we used a lot of local surface water from Lytle Creek and did not need to use the state project water at that time. So Valley District did some forecasting with the direct delivery orders that they had, projected what would be used by the end of the year. With the direct deliveries and the recharge deliveries, it's estimated at 55 to 65,000 acre feet. For the supply, the carryover amount that they have in storage is 51,000 acre feet, with 3,000 in the Kern Delta, and the allocation this year was 40%, which means Valley District will receive 41,000 acre feet. That's 95,000 acre feet of water, which is a lot of water. With the direct deliveries and the recharge, it's estimated at about 62,000 acre feet will be used. And then there'll be carryover water. So in 2025, the carryover is limited to 25,650 acre feet. DWR has new policies, or has policies, on the amount of carryover water based on the current year's allocation. DWR is prioritizing filling San Luis this summer and fall, which there's a potential spill risk involved with that. DWR has modified its operations this year to maximize deliveries from Lake Oroville, south of the Delta, to San Luis. In July, Valley District consulted with the retail water agencies to see if any additional state water project water was needed for this calendar year. There is a potential, if the surplus water is not monetized, it could be lost out through underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. Some of the water can be stored in San Luis, but again, it's subject to spill. Valley District projects that there will be between 30,000 and 40,000 acre feet of surplus state project water that won't be able to be delivered within the service area this calendar year. They're proposing a carryover of 20,000 acre feet and a surplus of plus or minus 15,000 acre feet for sale to an interested party, likely farmers in the Central Valley. The proposed plan was discussed at the Basin Technical Advisory Committee to get feedback from the retail water agencies. I think everyone would agree we'd prefer to get as much water here locally into the groundwater basins that we can and maximize as much as we can for our direct deliveries. That being said, when we've done as much as we can and we've recharged as much as we can, if there is excess water, that water could be monetized. So if the water sales agreement can be reached with another state water contractor or an agricultural interest in the Central Valley, that will go to Valley District's board for consideration. The proceeds of that would be put into a surplus water sales direct basin management fund. And those proceeds can be used later to either purchase state project water in the future or to fund local infrastructure projects. And that is the end of my presentation. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Any questions?
Well, I have one. How long does that take to, if we made a decision for that process of deciding, monitorizing, it's like 30 days from now, 60 days from now?
So it's not a decision that we make here at the district. It's kind of an informational item. The sooner that an agreement with the purchase and sale of that can be done, the better, because the water has to be transferred by the end of the year. So whoever it's going to be sold to, they have to take receipt of it and recharge it or use it wherever they're going to use it.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions, Angie?
Do we have a list of who may be interested?
I don't have that available. That's something the Valley District is working for the surplus water. And depending on the cost of water, as you know, we've cost of water ranges year by year. And depending on how much water is surplus, it could be anywhere from $0 to $7.5 million. So it can range depending on how much water is surplus.
I was looking at our slides, I wasn't taking notes. How much surplus do we have for our agency?
Our agency does not have a specific amount.
So the surplus, how does that affect us?
So it's an informational item. The surplus water is It's state project water that Valley District has the ability to bring into the region. And they have done that. We've ordered water for treatment at our Romer treatment facility. Unfortunately, right now, we're in the middle of construction, and it limits us on how much water we can take. There are sometimes we've had more shutdowns lately because of that. But we don't have a specific amount of water. This is kind of just an update as to what water is available for Valley District service area and what's the best use of how to use that water. If it's not used, it could potentially spill underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, or if too much is placed in San Luis, it could also spill there, or it could be monetized, and that money used for future water purchases or infrastructure projects.
So, what is the percentage right now that we get for state water?
It's not necessarily a percentage. Valley District's percentage is 40%.
Okay, I thought we as an agency had a percentage of what we use of state water.
Each year, we put in a request for how much we'd like to purchase for the upcoming year. And if available, depending on the allocation that's received that year, we may or may not receive even the amount that we've requested. It depends on how much rain, snowpack.
Okay.
Can you go back to the slide that showed where the agencies were so far this year? I think it was towards the beginning. One more. Okay, so that one, go back. So we're looking to take, looks like 600 acre feet over kind of the summer here. Is that right, per month? Is that kind of what our projection is?
So this table was put together by Valley District
Okay.
to kind of illustrate the projections and how much potentially could be surplus.
Okay.
That number that they have shown for West Valley, we are going to definitely try to meet those numbers. But as I had mentioned, we are in construction, which might limit our ability to take
Okay.
it.
So my question is, maybe, again, obviously we're in the middle of this project, and I realize the project really won't be fully up and online until next year, but if a normal summer is us taking 600 acre feet, how much more would we be able to take once Romer is completed?
Well, we'd be able to take an additional 7.2 million gallons per day, so
But in acre feet, like what is that? I mean, would it be like 1,000 acre feet instead of 600? I mean, how much of a difference are we probably looking at?
my calculator here.
Yeah.
Give me about 2 minutes to do the
Okay.
math there.
I was just curious because I know that this is exactly the kind of scenario that we've discussed in engineering over the last
Yes.
7-8 years going on 9 years that I've been here, about having that extra capability for these wet years to be able to take more of that water. So I was just curious as to what that looks like in terms of acre feet on this chart. Okay. And then I did have another question. I'm trying to remember what it was. The Cactus Basin. So I know we're still trying to work with Valley District and the county on that one, but in theory, like, what's kind of the potential possibilities that we're looking at as far as how much acre feetage could be spread over the Cactus Basins?
So the Cactus Basin is one, but there's other recharge facilities throughout the Upper Santa Ana.
Correct, but specifically the Cactus Basins for the Rialto Colton Basin.
I believe there were some modeling done
Mhm.
on the amount, but I'm not sure of what that number was.
Okay. I was just curious because, again, it's like this is why those two projects are so important
Yes.
to us, is that when we have this water and
Exactly. If
June
this-
and Susan are on the phone or on the line there, and they're like, hey, take more water. Well, these are the projects that will hopefully let us one day take more of that water for recharge or to relax our pumping by putting more through the Romer plant. So, I don't know, have I stalled enough for you there, Rocky? Or
So that 7.2 MGD would be an extra 8,000 acre feet per year, which is about 650 acre feet per month.
Oh, okay, so that could potentially double at least what was projected here, especially for the summer months.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, impressive. Okay. Thank you for crunching that real quickly. You passed the test.
I want to see the math.
Google unit conversions.
All right, well, thank you. Any other questions, board members? No? All right, well, thank you so much, Linda. That's very, very good updates, and thank you for the presentation. All right, next up, we have the consent calendar. Tonight, we just have one item, the minutes for July 18th and August 1st. If there's no problems or questions or concerns, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
I motion that we adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you, Director Garcia.
Yes.
Director Moore's absent. Vice President Jenkins.
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
All right, so now that takes us to business item number 2. So this is the board vacancy for the seat held by Director Hawkins for Division 4. So I'll turn it over to staff to give us the report on this.
Yes, Jeff assisted in putting together the staff report, so he and I will be presenting together, and I'll start it out with Jeff.
So as you know, the board seat of Director Hawkins was vacant as of August 1st of this year. The election for that Division 4 seat has been called, obviously, and the filing period has closed, and one individual has filed papers for that seat in Division 4. Being that it's now August and we have until the election and until the new term for that division starts, which is in December 6th of 2024 is when the new term would start. You currently have obviously a vacant seat, and there is time, if wished, to either one, leave it vacant until that election, until the election cycle is over, the election is over, and the person is seated, or the board could decide to fill the vacancy by appointment. That would be filling the vacancy for the balance of the term, that is until December. And then a new term would start, obviously. So there are time periods, and the board clerk did put together a potential timeline on the second page and you've probably been through this before or know about it, but if the board wishes tonight to authorize posting a vacancy, then we have to post a vacancy in 3 conspicuous places in the district, wait 15 days, have a meeting, an open session to perhaps appoint somebody to fill that position. Actually, the person can be sworn in on the same meeting where they're voted in, if that's possible. So the recommendation tonight is really just to direct staff, legal counsel as to which option you wish to do. Option 1, call for the filling of the vacancy and direct staff to take the necessary steps to make an appointment. Or 2, keep the board seat vacant since the district is in the current election cycle, which includes the election to this vacant seat. So, board clerk, I don't know if you wanted to add anything on the timing or cost or.
Quick question, is it 15 calendar days or 15 business days?
It's calendar days.
So that potential timeline is something that can be discussed as well. And we were looking at the possibility of having a special meeting on the 16th for interviews. And as Jeff had mentioned, you could swear in that person at the time that you select the person, providing, there's, we've got candidates.
Now, when you
to
say
interview.
16th, you're talking about 16th of
September,
September,
correct,
yes.
of September.
As long as Calvin's here, because I'm not available that day.
Or you
Well,
could actually have the interviews at your regular meeting and have it as a business item.
Well, yeah, that's what I was just kind of wondering, because I'm
Yeah.
like, if we post it
Correct.
tomorrow, is there any reason why we couldn't do it on the 5th?
So the posting would be until next week,
Okay,
right? And then the timeline would follow. Now, the only thing in question is, like, you could have the you could have the interviews occur on the 19th, and then that person would be appointed and sworn in on that same day,
On the 19th.
on the 19th,
But
which is a
again, if
regular.
I'm not counting right, because if we posted on Monday, the 19th of August,
Mm-hmm.
so it'd go through September 3rd then? Because that'd be 15 days, right? So it could theoretically be ready by the 5th for our meeting on the 5th?
So you have to wait 15 days, right, before you can appoint. The notice of vacancy
Correct.
goes, and then you have your 15 days,
Again, I'm just trying to look at the,
right? Am I reading it?
Yeah, so we have to get the math whiz to figure out what the,
yeah.
Greg's right. The 15 days, if it was posted on the 19th,
Mm-hmm.
15 days would be September 3rd.
Yeah, which is 2 days before our next regular scheduled meeting anyways.
On the 5th.
What you're saying, so theoretically, yes, if we have just the one person that polls, it'd be easy enough. Otherwise, you'd have two people to have to interview two people, do the, review, then the
Yeah.
scoring, and then feasibly you could do it on that.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to figure out it,
Yeah.
because technically it looks like that would be possible if that's what the board wants to do.
Right,
That
yes.
we could post it and have planned interview/appointment on September 5th.
You
right?
could, yeah.
Okay. Or we could do it later if that's, but
Yeah,
I think it's kind of up to.
It's gonna be a
that's
mad
gonna be a pretty
rush.
big push to
It's
get
a-
it done.
Yeah,
I mean, you, Elvis.
yeah. So, we could do it. We could do it if you wish to do that.
Well, I think first and
We try.
foremost, the question for the board is, what do you guys want to do? Because there's just the three of us tonight. We do have the vacancy. We have option A, which is to go ahead and
Option
post it. I'm sorry, option one, go ahead, post it. We'll we'll advertise it, see if, anyone other than Mr. Bennett applies. And if not, then we can look at the moving forward with maybe appointing him to the board. Or option two is we are close enough to the election where the ROV says that we could, in theory, keep it open just because of the timeline. But it's really our choice on what we want to do.
And the other thing too to remember is that we've got Labor Day, right, that Monday before the 3rd, and so that's why I kind of pushed it out another week, because you don't know about people being gone on vacation and things kind of being very, kind of condensed as far as the normal work week.
Yeah.
And we're posting in 3 conspicuous places too, so it's a little more legwork to get
It
it out
is.
there.
It's legwork there, and then also my assumption was we were going to give about a week to 2 weeks for applications to be brought in, which is the normal time frame that you give folks. So it would be a tight squeeze.
But the legal requirement is at least 15 days.
Uh-huh.
At least.
Okay. Okay, just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
So
When's the next meeting?
Well,
what is everybody's thoughts on this?
Well, first I want to acknowledge that Mr. Esteban Bennett is here at our meeting, who is running for, has no opposition for the district. But I recall when I was appointed here, and I wanted to be on the board ASAP, is my opinion. And I understand there's maybe a lot of work involved to get us there quickly, and but I would like to see us full again, because we have a lot of important decisions to make in the very near future.
Yeah, the 19th.
That's my opinion on this.
Angie, your thoughts?
I don't have any. I mean, it's so close to the election. It could go either way. I know that he's here. I know that you show interest. So I appreciate that. So I just don't see so much urgency to put on staff. So if we have another week, to do it for the mid-September, I think we're still fine.
Well, I guess probably the first question is, do we want to appoint or do we not want to appoint? If we do want to appoint, then we can discuss what date we want to try to shoot for.
The other thing to consider also is that we've got CSDA annual meeting going on the week of the 9th. And so it's going to be a mad rush for us to get prepared, if we're doing it on the 3rd, to get onboarding done, to get all of that stuff, because we're
Fair
still
point.
trying to
Well,
prepare
let's
for all
first
that.
settle the first question.
Sure.
Do we want to go ahead and just move forward with an appointment or keep it open?
Well, I think you understand my position. I'd like to use option one and get
Okay.
it filled as soon
Are
as
you
possible.
good with that, Angie?
Well,
or-
I see him here. He's been coming. I think he's eager to be part of the team. And so I think that we should just go for an
Okay.
appointment.
All right, so option one, now the question as far as dates, so it sounds like it would be a lot better if we tried to shoot for the 19th then? Am I hearing
Yes,
that? Okay.
that's preferred, yes.
Okay.
But do we need to have a special meeting for that?
No,
No, that's our
no,
regular
that was the
meeting.
recommendation, but we can actually do everything on the 19th and just have the interview happen, the discussion, the appointment, the swearing in at the same time.
On the 19th?
That work for everybody?
Yeah.
That's good for me.
So we would request, if that's the consensus, to have a vote to fill the vacancy and to direct staff to work towards the 19th of September for the meeting.
I'll entertain a motion as such.
I'll
Right.
second.
Well, first, I'll motion that we fill the
Oh,
vacancy.
I'm sorry. I
That's
thought you
okay.
said it.
I'll motion that we fill the vacancy and that we fill that vacancy on September 19th.
I'll second that.
Okay, all right. If no further discussion, we'll call the roll.
Perfect. Director Moore's absent. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Yep.
All right, now that brings us to business item number 3. So while we're going through that process that we just talked about, there is going to be a little bit of gap as far as committee assignments. So, Albia, I'm not sure if you're presenting this one or as well.
Yeah,
or-
I could just basically just let you know which committees
Yeah.
have a vacancy. So we've got a vacancy in the External Affairs Committee with Director Garcia being the chair. And then we have a vacancy in the HR Committee. Director Moore is on the HR Committee. I believe Director Moore is the chair. We also have a vacancy on the IE Works board. So as a member agency in IE Works, there is a board seat that needs to be filled with Channing's vacancy. Channing is ex officio participating in the board, but they do need a representative from West Valley Water District on
From
their
the
board.
district.
And they meet I think, during the day via Zoom, middle of the day on a monthly basis.
Monthly or every other month?
I think, every other month,
I
sorry.
think it was every other.
Yes,
That's
every
what I
other
read on
month.
the, I just want to make sure what I
Yes,
read on the email.
it's every
Okay.
other month. Mhm.
All right. All right. So first things first, why don't we take the committee? So, Dan, you had expressed an interest maybe in filling in on the external affairs
I
with
would like to do
Angie.
that, please.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Welcome to my committee.
Thank you.
And and Angie, do you have any interest in HR, or do you want me to fill in on that for
I'll
now?
let you fill in.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and fill in on HR for now. I think that all the committees may have to reevaluate times, though, so we'll work with you, Elvia, on making sure that the times work for
Of course.
everybody.
Certainly.
Now, as far as the IE Works, I know in the middle of the day is a little tough for me, but Dan, you sound like you might be interested in that. Angie, do you have any interest in that, or?
I think Dan would be great for that.
All right, so be it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so these would be temporary assignments through the
Correct.
end of the year, and then a reorganization again would happen in December.
December. Mhm.
Well, and since we're doing the appointment, we'll probably revisit it yet again after the appointment as well, but at least for the next month or so, while we're going through the advertising process, at least this way we have coverage on the committees.
Okay, so this appointment will be until the temporary assignments to the committees will be until the appointment occurs when it
Well,
can be
or you
reevaluated.
can just do the appointment now, and then when you get to that, you can make the change, because you
Okay.
can always make a change.
Correct, yeah,
Yep.
well, yeah, I
You
mean,
can put a timeline on it.
We'll
yeah,
just
if-
set the temporary assignments now.
correct,
Okay.
yeah, no, it may be from now till December, or we may change it again later in September after we get through the appointment process. So, all right, now, do we need to take a vote on that
Yes,
item
please.
as well? Okay, all
You
right,
can take
so,
it all together at once.
all right, I'll entertain a motion.
I motion that we accept the appointments as discussed.
There you go.
External Affairs, Vice President Jenkins. HR filled by President Young. IU Works filled by Vice President Jenkins.
Okay, we have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
Great. Director Morris absent. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, excellent. So now that takes us to reports. Do any board members have any meetings that they need to report for attendance purposes for billing?
Okay, let me start with my report. August 5th, I participated in a draft run of a podcast with the Fontana Chamber of Commerce and West Valley Water District.
Oh.
On the 6th of August, I attended the Fontana City Nights. On the 7th of August, we had the weekly meeting with Alvia. On the 8th of August, we did Fontana Chamber Luncheon, and then in the evening attended the Jesse Armendariz Open House. August 9th, a Friday, attended the BIA Water Conference here in Ontario. And that's it, another meeting with Alvia yesterday.
All right, Dan?
I'll try and make mine quicker. Bloomington Mac on the 7th. 8th, I did the chamber luncheon with Director Garcia and the Jesse Armendariz, and I also met a Zoom meeting with Paul Hernandez with Calvin Moore, and on the 9th was BIA, and on the 13th, attended Aqua Region 9 in regards to employment opportunities in water for other people, and we also, with President Young, I attended the Kessler Park ceremony with Supervisor Baca.
Yes. All right, for me, the outside meetings that I need to report are the groundbreaking with Vice President Jenkins for Supervisor Baca and the Dreamfield in Kessler Park in Bloomington, and the BIA conference.
Bloomington Mac.
That's already on the schedule.
Oh, never mind.
I don't have to report that. So, all right. So committee reports. Do we have any committee reports to report out this time?
Okay, for safety and technology, security cameras. Cameras are already being installed at the district headquarters to provide security coverage while staff continue to seek grant funding. Staff is also working on a plan to provide camera coverage at Romer. Second, the staff recently met with IL Utilities, which is an innovation consultant specializing in developing and commercializing technologies in the water and environmental sectors. Staff will provide more information on the topic in future meetings. And third, the staff provided an update on the intranet, for which the staff directory is almost complete and the content continues to be added. It's growing. And lastly, the committee also received updates on ongoing projects with NAVEX, iPaySmart, Tyler Work Order Module, and the Agenda Link with Agenda Management. End of my report.
Any other reports?
No reports. We'll have our external affairs meeting on Monday, so we'll be reporting on the following board meeting.
All right. Board member reports. Does anyone have anything else they would like to report?
No, I just want to give I want to thank the External Affairs Committee for the staff being out on the National Night Out. We were at 4 different cities that night, and the staff were engaged, and the community took all our stuff, all our goodies, but they were there, and I really appreciate that. And when we were at the open house for Jesse Armendariz, we took our mascot to the event, and she was a great hit. The kids were engaged. She just brings so much joy to when we're out in the community. So I just want to thank that the External Affairs Department, because they really go out of their way to engage with the community and put West Valley Water out there. So thank you for your time. I know those days are very long. So thank you so much.
I wish to second what Director Garcia said, that the External Affairs, though I'm not on the committee yet, has been doing a fantastic job. In the areas I've been, they work hard to meet with the public.
As of 2 minutes ago, you are on the committee, but no, certainly props to the team. We've seen them out there quite a bit, so great job, Socorro, to you and your team. I know that we're all very impressed, and it was good to see us with a really great booth at the BA conference, so keep up the good work. I would like to extend a congratulations to my colleague, Director Garcia, on once again not having any competition. At least I was thankful enough to join this time as well, and of course want to acknowledge Mr. Bennett, who's out in the audience as well. We certainly look forward to serving with you soon, so I did want to acknowledge that. And certainly say it was a really great event that we had with Supervisor Baca at the groundbreaking, Dan and I, and you know, a lot of really great projects going on out there in the community, so it's really great. All right, we'll go to the General Manager's report.
In the General Manager's absence, I'll give a report for him. Thank you, Mr. President. For recruitment updates, we have 3 vacancies. The Purchasing Inventory Specialist, 12 people were interviewed. A short list was made, and follow-up interviews will be later this month. For the CFO position, Koff and Associates are working on that recruitment. And the Facilities Maintenance Technician, the posting is closed and interviews are scheduled for August 22nd. For the strategic plan update, staff's been working on the department work plans, and John has been meeting with all of the departments to review the drafts. Those should be finalized by the end of the month, and John will be bringing that back to the board as a presentation in September. The board and staff also attended the 18th Annual BIA Water Conference last week, which was very well attended. Sessions on cybersecurity for utilities, status of imported water, investing in tomorrow's water, local supply reliability in the Upper Santa Ana watershed, and a keynote speaker was Secretary Wade Crowfoot. The ASB CSD meeting will be Monday, August 26th. West Valley will be hosting that event. Congresswoman Norma Torres will be discussing removing nitrate and arsenic in Drinking Water Act. And staff is currently preparing for that event, and we should have a good turnout. And that is my update.
All right, legal?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to mention a couple of U.S. Supreme Court cases that you probably heard about in the paper or in the news, not in the newspaper anymore, that have to do with the interpretation of federal statutes and regulations and how that may impact this district. So the first case had to do with the Chevron deference. And the case was the Loper case, but it dealt with the Chevron deference, and that was labeled as such because of a case many years ago involving Chevron. And the deference was that courts would look to what the regulatory bodies think a statute means when enforcing that statute. And the U.S. Supreme Court, 6-3, said, well, actually, courts determine what a statute means, not the regulatory bodies themselves. And so this would impact federal compliance that we have to do for the environment, endangered species, things like that, water quality issues. The Chevron deference itself is not used as much as it used to be, but it was a big issue for many years in terms of trying to, one would argue, scale back the authority of regulators to move outside of the statute itself. They should be bound to the statute itself. The other case is the Corner Post case, and this had to do with the statute of limitations to challenge a regulation. So a statute is passed and a regulation is adopted, and normally there's a facial challenge that one can make to a regulation. So the regulation is adopted by the federal agency involved. They publish it in the Federal Register, and then one would have 6 years to challenge that regulation. But the issue over the years has been, well, what if a company, for example, didn't come into existence until after that 6 year period is passed, and they feel that regulation is not just. Courts in the past would say, well, you weren't around then, or you didn't know this would be applied to you, but that's the way it goes. At 6 years, you cannot challenge it. The U.S. Supreme Court said, well, no, when is somebody damaged by a regulation? Well, they're damaged when it's applied to them, not just when it's adopted. So one should have the authority to challenge a regulation within 6 years after it's applied or accrued to them. And so it was kind of a complicated case, but what the court said is that, look, when a statute is adopted and it says, go forth and come up with a regulation, that regulation needs to say at the time when it's accrued. If it's accrued based on the time that it's adopted, it needs to say it. If it doesn't say it, then somebody who is impacted by that regulation many years later will still have an opportunity to raise a challenge in court. So once again, one would argue that that's scaling back the authority of regulatory bodies to wait 6 years and then they can't be touched on what they deal with a regulation. If the regulation says it's a facial challenge only, that's fine. But if it doesn't say that, then a party would have the authority to challenge a regulation they don't feel is appropriate or doesn't comply with the law upon which it was adopted, would still have that period of time to challenge it. So once again, this is not state law or state regulation. These are federal laws, federal regulations, but still has an impact on water districts, water quality, environmental issues. So as those things come up, if they come up in the future, we'll certainly keep you updated. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we have the board secretary.
Thank you, President Young. Just a quick look at what we're going to be doing for the remainder of the month. We've got next week External Affairs happening on Monday at noon, and I will send Vice President Jenkins that Zoom link so that you can participate and that invitation. Policy Committee on Wednesday, Engineering and Operations on Thursday. The 26th will be the ASB-CSD hosted monthly meeting, and a lot is being prepared. I think to date we're at 55, 56
Wow.
respondents. We're expecting more with the amount of folks that are coming from here, including Congresswoman Torres's entourage, including her chief of staff will be with her as well, which is great.
Great.
We're expecting to probably be at about 80 or so,
Nice.
which is going to be probably the best attended
I
one.
was about to say,
Everybody's
like-
excited about it. There's going to be, yeah. So we'll give you more information as to the run of the show and how everything's going to happen. And we're excited to present that. It should be a really, really good, very well with the help of Socorro and her team, Pal and myself, a lot of folks that are involved in this. It's going to be a very, very well produced event. It's going to be
I'm looking forward to it.
event for us.
I'm-
Everybody's looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm
So-
sure y'all are going to do a great job.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best event of the whole year.
It will. It will be
for
something
the
to discuss.
special
Oh yeah, I was with the coordinator, Natalie, ASB-CSD's coordinator, and they're excited. They're really
Great.
excited about it as well. So
Wonderful.
looking forward to that. The remainder of the week will be Executive Committee and Finance Committee. Next, the following month, again, we have Labor Day on that second, which will be closed. If we want to the next slide, Robert. There we go. We'll be closed on Labor Day, so we've moved the Safety and Tech Committee to Tuesday the 3rd. That will be also at 2 p.m. the check presentation by Valley Water on the demand incentive. They're going to be presenting. That invitation went out to.
Yeah, I saw that. Unfortunately, I'm pretty locked up at
I-
the hospital at
I
that
figured
time, so
It is during the
I know
day.
it's a check, but it's
It is.
Ugh,
Can
right in
the
the middle
check
of the day.
come on a different day? I'm just asking.
Oh, I-
I'm asking for
or
another
can
board
Dan
member.
go?
I did.
We can't. You know, I think
Uh,
Socorro will be there.
I-
We'll have representatives there, but we were
I've-
just wanting to see if a
I've
board member
accepted
could.
the invitation. I'll have the day off.
Perfect.
Whatever.
I'll be there.
Okay, so we will have somebody there
Okay,
from the
good.
board.
Yeah, because I looked at the time and I was like, I have a meeting I can't
It is
get
at 2
out
p.m.
of.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we will have representation there
Okay.
from the board. Again, the regular board meeting on the 5th, HR committee on the 9th, executive committee, and now CSDA conference is going to be happening from the 9th to the 12th with the pre-conference events happening on the 9th that nobody signed up for. So essentially it'll be from the 9th through the 12th that we'll be attending that. So that's pretty heavy, busy schedule. In between them, we'll be sending out the notices of vacancy for Channing's seat, and then we'll be following up and giving you updates as we go.
Okay. And then we do have the state legislative workshop.
State
there.
legislative workshop on the 14th, correct.
Make sure you all have that on your calendar.
It's from 9 to 12. It's been sent out already, so
Yeah.
you should have it on your calendars.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It looks good. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.
I saw that, yeah. Hey. Oh yeah, I'm trying. Well, you know, I always say I never try to embarrass myself. The only way I can do it is by listening and learning, right? Yeah. It's no different.